Good evening. I'm Gracelyn Guyol, and welcome to Restoring Health Holistically. Our subject this evening is the health benefits of yoga and meditation, and my guest is Amy Zezulka, owner of Mystic Yoga Shala. Welcome, Amy. It's wonderful to have you here.
Thank
She's
you.
also my yoga teacher.
Yes.
Amy began taking yoga at the Shivananda ashram. Shivananda, and she's going to correct about 5 different Sanskrit names that I'm going to not pronounce correctly, in Manhattan in 1990, following 2 years at the American Musical and Dramatic Academy. She completed a 4-year work-study program at the
Jivamukti Yoga Center
in New York, and in 1996 received her teaching certification from the Shivananda ashram. After working on an organic farm, Daichin became the first employee of the Association for Resource Conservation in Long Island, which encourages vineyards and farms to use organic methods. In 1999, she lived, worked, and studied at Pema Oso Ling in California, home of the Vajrayana Foundation, and also where the great Tibetan Rinpoche Tarchin, who gave her the name of Daichin. Mystic Yoga Shala is officially associated with the Baptiste Yoga Institute, and she is a certified 500-hour Baptiste yoga teacher. The Shala has been the official yoga studio for the WNBA Sun basketball team and is running an accredited course for the Coast Guard Academy. It also offers free veterans yoga classes through the nonprofit Recovery Yoga. So tell us, what is yoga?
Great question. I'm so glad you asked. Yoga, the word yoga actually means to yoke or to join, so union. And it means a state of being where your mind and body are in harmony with each other. The Yoga Sutras, which was the first book written on yoga, defines yoga as yogas chittas vritti nirodha, which means yoga is the cessation or the stopping of the craziness in your head. Sounds good to me.
Yes, that's always been a challenge for most of us.
Yeah.
So when you're in a state of yoga, you feel peaceful.
Yeah, you feel peaceful, you experience a sense of timelessness, and hopefully everyone in your studio audience, everyone on planet Earth, has gotten to experience yoga at one time or another. For most of us, we're in that state when we're doing something that we really love to do. Maybe it's running or making music or watching our grandchildren play. It's an experience where, again, the past and future aren't there. You're completely immersed in the present moment, and you feel really good.
Everything else falls away.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So when did the practice of yoga begin?
That is also another very good question that no one knows for sure exactly. Stone figures or stone carvings were found of people in what we now know of as yoga postures in the Indus Valley, and these stone carvings were dated to about 5,000 years ago.
Okay.
Now, also in South America and in Egypt, hieroglyphs have been found with people in yoga postures.
So this is not new.
No, it's not new at all. And then also, I mentioned the Yoga Sutras earlier as being the first book written on yoga. The Yoga Sutras has been dated to the 1st to 2nd century BC.
Okay.
Or it could be as early as the 5th century AD. So very old.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell us, well, in that time frame, they've had an opportunity to develop a lot of different yogas. So tell us about some of the yoga types.
That's true. Well, first of all, there's 4 paths of yoga, known as there's the karma, bhakti path, Jnana Yoga and Raja Yoga. And these paths are just simply different ways to experience yoga. And we all know that people have different personalities, and so, the paths will appeal more to,
Some are restful and some
Well,
are
for example, karma yoga is the yoga of selfless service. So, for example, Mother Teresa could be called a karma yogi.
Okay.
She could experience yoga through working selflessly for others,
Okay.
or just serving others and working without expecting anything in return, offering up your efforts to, the highest, to serve others, humans and
Okay.
animals too,
Okay.
right? Now, there's bhakti yoga, that's the yoga of devotion. So, I had relatives who are bhakti yogas. They were completely devoted to the Virgin Mary. And, their hearts were very open to that. Bhakti yoga, you experience yoga through love and through love. I'll keep it simple.
Okay.
And then there's Raja Yoga is the yoga of mind control. Meditation falls under Raja Yoga. The practices that we do in America, most of them fall under the Raja Yoga category. And then there's also Jnana Yoga. Deepak Chopra has called himself a Jnana Yogi. That's the yoga of the intellect. So you can experience yoga through a lot of study and inquiry. So, for example, Talmudic scholars could be considered Jnana Yogis. Now, when most people ask me what the different types of yoga are, I think now we're getting into all the different styles of yoga in America. And there's quite a few. I'm not going to list them all right now. I think what would be helpful for the studio audience is, if you're interested in yoga, we have a lot of wonderful yoga studios in the area and great yoga teachers, and to go to the different studios and take from a couple of different teachers and see, who's a good fit for you. And ask yourself, I told you earlier that I would break it down into two styles, restorative yoga and vinyasa yoga, just to really simplify it. So restorative yoga is a physical practice where you're not going to be getting your heart rate up. It's going to be just very relaxing, very easy. Maybe only just a few postures are done. Then there's vinyasa type style yoga classes. Now those are going to be more vigorous. You are going to get your heart rate up. You're not just going to be relaxing, that's a big part of it, but you're also going to be working on your strength, your flexibility, your cardiovascular system. So balance, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
From all this, what is meant by a mindfulness practice?
Okay, mindfulness. Yeah, and mindfulness is an important part of a yoga practice. So when we speak of being mindful, we're speaking to being present. And being present means to be completely aware of what's going on in the present moment, in your physical body, in your mind, not bringing the past or the future into your experience. So, and also, and this is another important point to mindfulness, not only are you present, but you're letting go of all judgment. So I like to use the experience of having a headache, for example. I think most people have maybe experienced a headache in their lifetime. It can be painful and uncomfortable. Well, you can use the practice of mindfulness to help you deal with your headache. And what you would do is you would just simply pay attention to the sensations of the headache and just pay attention, and that's it, which means drop the thoughts around the headache, drop the story around it. Why do I have
horrible headache?
Right.
I get terrible pain. Yada da da da.
Exactly. Why is this happening to me? I don't want to experience this headache. I want it to go away. Well,
So you let that go.
you let it go and you just practice focusing in on the experience of the headache. Feel and pay attention to the pain without judging it, without trying to push it away. Obviously, it's a practice, especially when something's painful. But mindfulness helps us to let go too of repetitive, negative, anxious thoughts.
That we all carry around all the time.
Yeah,
And we hear the same tape recorder, maybe your mother saying something in your head, or your boss, or so it's learning how to not have that continue, that dialogue, that negative dialogue.
Exactly. And for me, it's a relief to know that thousands of years ago, humans were also dealing with neurotic thoughts. And these thoughts, it's not just us, it's not just modern day humans. It's like these, these people thousands of years ago were like, how can I deal with
human nature hasn't changed.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Explain the three main components of yoga, please.
Okay. Yeah, that's very good. Because so if you're going to be doing yoga or taking a yoga class, you want to make sure that there's a breathing component, that your breath is addressed, and you're breathing in a conscious way. That there's a meditative component to it, and then of course there's the physical exercise. Because something that's happening, I've noticed in this country, is a move towards just the physical. And if the breathing isn't addressed and the meditative aspect, it may not be yoga.
Well, or at best it's partial, because what you're incorporating is body, mind, and spirit in yoga, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a religious ceremony, but it's a oneness within yourself.
Yes.
And so the breath and the meditation, the breath is the physical, the meditation is the mind, and then the physical exercise is also the physical. So what's the breathing? Where's the body, mind, spirit here? I've lost myself.
Okay, I'll help you get back on track.
Anyhow.
Yeah, because when we start talking about the benefits of yoga, it's important to note that the benefits are coming from not just a physical practice, but a physical practice that is incorporating conscious breathing. At my studio, we do Baptiste yoga, so we use Ujjayi breath, ocean sounding breath, which is a specific technique.
Demonstrate that.
Okay, I will. So Ujjayi breath means victorious. And we call it the victorious breath because anytime you're breathing consciously, it's a victory. Why is it a victory? Because you're not up here, in the past or in the future. You're focused on the present moment. So it sounds like this. It's very similar to what you do if you were fogging up a mirror or your glasses. You make a breathy HA sound like this. Then you practice doing it with your mouth closed.
So you feel it and you hear it, but it's in the back of the throat, coming up the back of the throat and out the nose, correct? Okay.
So the sound is coming from my throat, and it's a technique that we use to just, enhance our connection to the breath, to anchor us, into our bodies.
And to remind you to breathe deeply, too.
Exactly.
So if you can hear it, then you're more aware of it.
Also, too, Ujjayi breath slows your breathing down. It's very difficult to breathe, rapidly if you're using the Ujjayi breathing technique.
I want to just ask you one question, because when I first went to a yoga class, I was really confused and sort of put off by the names of the poses all being in a language that I had no idea what it was or what the poses meant. And so explain how this evolved and what asana means.
Okay, well, first of all, how did it evolve? I would say, actually, it hasn't, because we're still using the Sanskrit names, which are, right, thousands of years old.
Okay.
So what you're hearing is, the teacher's using Sanskrit. However, it's very important that teachers make it clear to their students, how to do a pose, and that they're instructing you properly in a language that you can understand. But yeah, you might hear a teacher, Ujjayi, for example. That's
the breath.
Sanskrit, right? The breath. Ardha Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. So what you're hearing is Sanskrit, and again, the first texts written on yoga, were in Sanskrit, and so some of us are still using Sanskrit for the asanas. And asana, you asked me, what does asana mean? I love, my first teacher is Sharon Gannon, the co-owner of the Jiva Mukti studios, told us that asana, asana is Sanskrit, and it actually means seat. Now, when we refer to asana, we're talking about the actual yoga postures that we do.
And each one, it's something asana.
Right, like Tadasana,
Okay.
is your standing pose,
Right.
or Dandasana, staff pose. Asana actually means seat, and it means your connection to the earth. Asana practice is about connecting with the earth.
And keeping you grounded.
Keeping you grounded, and it's about relationships, and it's about really cultivating healthy relationships with the earth and all of the beings on the earth.
Okay.
And here's a neat little thing too. Again, that my teacher Sharon pointed out to me, is that the ancient hieroglyphic symbol for Isis, the goddess, or the goddess, was a chair. A seat.
A seat.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Tell us some of the health benefits of yoga, since that's what we're all about in this show.
oh yes. Okay. Well, when someone asks me that, I like to quote Dr. Timothy McCall. And before I tell you what his quote is, I just want to give you a little bit of background on him. He is a board certified MD. He's an internist. He's now focusing mainly on research and articles. His articles have appeared in numerous publications like the New England Journal of Medicine and the Journal of the American Medical Association, just to name just a few. And his quote is, "Yoga is the most powerful medicine." And that's Dr. Timothy McCall's quote.
And why is that?
Well, the first thing that comes up, in my mind is that because yoga relaxes you and also prepares you for deep states of relaxation, it's very easy for the body to heal itself when it's in a relaxed state. I mean, we know that a lot of severe trauma victims in a hospital will be put into a coma. The doctors will induce a coma to help them with the healing
stabilize them,
process.
yeah.
To stable them, and so it's very. I mean,
Well,
hopefully I'll get to.
relaxation is part of what people like me who go to yoga come out and feel, everything has fallen away and the tension is gone, and I've gotten a physical workout, and I'm also extremely relaxed and ready to face the day.
And so many of our diseases, are caused from stress.
Yes.
So yeah.
Let's talk specifically about a few ailments. Does yoga help with mental problems like depression?
Yes, absolutely. For myself, that's why I got into yoga. Actually, I got into yoga because of my anger issues.
You had anger?
Yeah, everyone laughs when I tell them that, but yes, I'm a very passionate person, and so anger is something that I can experience a lot. And I did lose a job in Manhattan that I had for 5 years because I I actually punched someone. I was so angry. Anyways, a friend of mine was like, "You need to come to a yoga class," and I'm so glad he took me. But anyways, yeah, recent scientific studies have shown that yoga practice actually releases natural substances in the brain that act as strong antidepressants. And also too, you're releasing yourself from the negative mental thoughts, repetitive thoughts.
Behaviors.
Yeah, you're getting specific tools to help you, let go of the thoughts that are connected to anxiety, depression,
old patterns. What are some of the benefits for heart patients?
Oh wow, okay, there's a lot. Again, I'm citing scientific studies.
Okay.
So it lowers cardiovascular risk factors, including high blood pressure, blood sugar levels, cholesterol, levels of fibrinogen. I might not be pronouncing that word correctly, but fibrinogen is a protein involved in blood clotting, so it's lowering levels of that. It also reduces signs of atherosclerosis, and which is an underlying factor in heart disease. Atherosclerosis. I might be pronouncing that word wrong too.
What recent research shows how it impacts anti-aging and longevity?
Okay, well, yoga practice raises levels of antioxidants in the bloodstream, and it also lowers levels of oxidative stress.
Stress, the stress word.
Clinical studies also show that yoga practitioners have fewer hospital visits, have a less need for therapy, have fewer serious coronary events, ranging from heart attacks to death.
That's quite a
Doesn't
range.
prevent death, but can help you live longer. Also, too, this is pretty cool. Telomeres. Someone in our audience might know what a telomere is, related to our genes. Stress and disease can shorten your telomeres, which will shorten your lifespan. Yoga helps to keep them long, and this is really good news. I love this news. If your telomeres have been shortened from disease, stress, a yoga practice can actually help them grow again. Wow.
That's news. Good news.
Pretty amazing. So it counteracts the forces of aging. They did a study on elderly women, and I love this because a lot of times people say, "Oh, I'm too old to start yoga," and that's just not true at all. It really is for everyone, all ages, every body type. And in this study, it was a study with balance, and what they found was the elderly women who, took up the practice of yoga had better balance, which means less falling and injury. And also, too, in 2011, a study done by physicians in Taiwan showed that yoga practitioners had less degenerative disease in their spines. So it keeps your spine healthy.
Right.
Yeah. And overall, it boosts immunity and helps to prevent disease.
What's not to like?
Yeah.
It feels great.
Yeah. Because sometimes people say, "Oh, I think it's a fad. Yoga's a fad." I'm like, no, it's not a fad.
It's been the longest living fad around.
Yeah.
Demonstrate a couple of yoga practices people can do from a chair.
Okay.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to disappear briefly and change the set and put some mats down, and I'm going to be the demonstrator of some yoga positions that Amy is going to help direct and critique as a demonstration. Besides, I think this will be fun.
Okay, great.
So demonstrate a couple in the chair.
Yeah, well, I thought we could do a breathing exercise first, because you could, be in bed doing this, or maybe you're incapacitated. So why don't we do that first?
Okay.
Because the breathing is very, very beneficial. So make sure that you're sitting up tall. that you're not hunched over or slouched, sitting in a chair. If you're sitting in a chair, you want your feet on the ground. If you have to, put some pillows under your feet or stack some books. And you're going to just close your eyes, and your hands can rest on your laps, palms up or palms down. And just very simply start to bring your awareness to your breath. Now I noticed Gracelyn and I both went into Ujjayi breath. You can, at home, just start paying attention to your breath. Just start noticing it. Just watch your breath coming in and out of your body. Watch it coming in and out of the nostrils. And practice keeping your mind on your breath. So every time your mind wanders and you start thinking about other things, just notice that that's happening and bring your mind back to your breath. Relax your belly and bring your awareness now to your belly and just feel your breath, moving your diaphragm, moving in your abdomen. Just simply pay attention to the sensations coming from your belly as you breathe. And start taking deep breaths now. So inhaling fully, filling your lungs up completely, keeping your shoulders relaxed. And exhaling fully all the way down deep into your belly. Feel your feet. Just notice your feet. Feet touching socks or in shoes, or barefoot feet touching the floor or your books. Keep breathing deeply. And slow your breathing down now. So deep, slow breaths. And every time a thought tries to grab you or hook you, there's so many thoughts you can have. Just practice letting it go. There's no thought you need to repress or push away. Just treat your thoughts, it's been said, like uninvited guests. Even if you have a great thought, you just let the thoughts come in and go out, and you keep bringing your mind back to your breath. And as you focus on breathing deeply, feel the support that you have coming from the air that you're breathing, the body that's breathing you, the support of your chair, of the earth. And know that you can relax and that you are very, very supported. Okay.
Thank you.
So that was also, mindfulness too.
And that when you come out of it, you can feel yourself sort of returning from somewhere.
Yeah.
That's been calm and safe and peaceful, and that was maybe 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's an easy way to relax yourself in the middle of the day. If you're feeling a little bit of stress, just do that for a couple of minutes and go to that place that is so restorative. Okay, so what's next then?
What's next is something that you can do for your spine at work, sitting in a chair. Again, if you're in a wheelchair, you can do this. and it's, we call it cat and cow.
Okay.
And you are going to, again, feet flat on the ground, hands just resting on your thighs. As you exhale, you're going to drop your chin into your chest, pull your belly in, and drop your head towards your lap. So you're rounding your spine, your shoulders are rounded. And then as you inhale, do the opposite. Start to lift up, roll your shoulders back, lift your chest high, look up so you're arching your back, elbows towards the back of the room. Exhale, drop your chin and round, fold in like a cocoon, round your shoulders. And as you inhale, do the opposite. Lift your heart high, arch your back, take your shoulders back, look up. And again, you want to coordinate it with the breath. So exhale, rounding into cat. And you can drop way down low as much as you can. Inhale, rounding up, sticking your chest out, head back. And again, cat, rounding down. You can drop and fold all the way down. Inhale, come back up. How's that?
Felt pretty good.
Yeah, nice.
Good on the neck and the back.
Yeah, and at first when you do it, maybe you don't have as much mobility, but if you practice regularly, you'll find your mobility increasing. Also, too, this is really important. When we talk about the health benefits of yoga, it's not like, you do it, once a month and you experience all these health benefits. You have to do it regularly. It's a discipline. It's meant to be done really every day. We tell our students come to class at least a couple times a week, 3 times. So.
Well, I learned to do yoga watching television shows that led yoga, and then later when I was traveling more, I had DVDs that I took with me, and I did yoga practice when I didn't have time to get to a class.
That's great.
And also sometimes with parents who have young children, it's hard to go out every day.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
you can go to the library, you can get DVDs, you can get any number of aids to help you keep doing and expanding your
Absolutely.
practice. So,
and what I tell people to do too is, come to class, get instruction from a knowledgeable teacher. And of course, if you can't come to class regularly, come and take a class with a teacher and then practice at home. Also too, there's a website called Play Yoga, hitplayyoga.com. You can look up Mystic Yogashala on the Hit Play Yoga website, and you can get yoga podcasts. So you can, download my classes actually, so you can hear them. And teachers at my studio also are on the Hit Play Yoga website, and you can listen to the classes at home, on your phone and practice, wherever you are.
I think that's great, and it is good. It's very helpful to have an instructor every now and then, especially. But for younger people or for people who are on the move all the time, you can do your yoga classes when you can get there and get some instruction and know how to do things, and then figure out ways to maintain it that fit into your schedule.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to take a break right here, and when you see us again, I'll be on the floor and on a mat and demonstrating whatever Amy tells me the practices she wants me to do. So see you in a minute.
Okay. Welcome back. So now Gracelyn and I are on the floor, and what you are about to see is a demonstration of a series of poses, or asanas, as you now know they are called, put together by my teacher, Baron Baptiste. If you were to come to my studio, what we're about to do now is something that you might actually experience. Baptiste yoga, this is the style of yoga that I teach and that we teach students from my studio, is made up of 3 components. Asana, that's the physical practice, meditation, and inquiry. Meditation we're going to do at the end. I'm going to guide Gracelyn through, a 5 to 7 minute meditation, and I invite you to join us in that meditation. Inquiry is the process of questioning our thoughts. Now, we're not going to get into that tonight, but it is part of the style of yoga that I teach. Okay, so let's get started. Gracelyn, could you please come into child's pose? You're going to come onto your hands and knees. Bring your big toes to touch and take your knees out wide. Great. Okay. Allow your head to be heavy on your mat, and you're going to start to breathe deeply. And remember, we talked about Ujjayi breath earlier. So Gracelyn, you're going to start producing that whispering sound in the back of your throat known as Ujjayi breath. And if you're joining us at home, you can practice Ujjayi breath by exhaling the ha sound with your mouth open, like that. Close your mouth and practice breathing, creating that same ocean sound in your throat. Gracelyn, relax all of your bones, let them be heavy. Let your hips be heavy. Good, you're paying close attention to your breath, keeping it nice and deep. If you're trying this at home and you're finding it difficult, maybe for your knees or your hips are up high, you can always roll a blanket up and place the blanket underneath your ankles so you can rest your hips on the blanket. Okay? So you're going to hold in child's pose for just a few more breaths. And what we're doing in child's pose is we're connecting with the earth, obviously, connecting with our breath, letting go of the day. Practice keeping the breath rhythmical, so equal effort between the inhalation and the exhalation. Okay, Gracelyn, please come up onto your hands and knees. Stack your shoulders over your hands. Good. Bring your knees under your hips. Spread your fingers comfortably. Good. Pull the pit of your belly in. And as you exhale, you're going to bring your chin and your pelvis towards each other. So this is the cat tilt. Remember, we did this on the chair, but you can do it on the floor too. Good. Now as you inhale, go into cow. So she's lifting her tailbone up, lifting her head. Good. Go back into cat. That's it. And as you inhale, come into cow. Soften your elbows a little bit in cow. Good. Shoulders roll back. That's it. And go back and forth a couple more times. I want you to coordinate the movement with your breath. That's it. As you go into cat, really press and root your fingers and knuckles down. Good, your belly stays firm. That's it. All 10 toes are connecting with the earth. Good, moving with your breath. Excellent. Now I want you to hold in the cow position. So drop your chest and lift your head up. That's it. Keep your belly firm. And now curl your toes under, Gracelyn, and come into downward facing dog. Good. So you're going to root your fingers and knuckles straight down into the floor, really flattening the palms of your hands. You lift your hips up high, and you're going to drop your heels towards the mat. Your heels may or may not touch the earth. It's not important. Now, if you soften your knees just a little bit, it's going to be easier for you to lift your hips up, which is going to help you to lengthen your back. Some of you at home, you'll have to bend your knees a lot. Gracelyn has been practicing yoga. She can actually straighten her legs. So you can do that, Gracelyn. Straighten your legs. Great. Good. Belly stays firm. Remember to use Ujjayi breath. That's it. Head and neck relaxed. Good. Also, another aspect of Baptiste yoga is dristi, which means gaze. And this is important for your yoga practice. You want to keep your gaze, Gracelyn, locked on to one spot. So it could be between your feet here or on a spot up on the ceiling. When you practice keeping your gaze still, it helps to calm your mind down. It also helps to take you into reality. Step into ragdoll, Gracelyn. Good, and just rest in ragdoll. Bend your knees. Feet are separated about 6 inches apart. That's it. Her knees are bent. This is important. Your hamstrings might be really tight. If you bend your knees, it's going to make it a lot easier for you to lengthen and relax your back. And the tighter your back or your hamstrings, then just bend your knees more. Good. Head and neck, very relaxed. Now grab a hold of opposite elbows. Good. Frame the top of your head and your ears with your arms. That's it. Press the 4 points of your feet straight down into your mat. Roll your inner ankles back like that. Legs are rotating in and back. Knees stay separated a little bit. That's it. Good. Breathing deeply. Dristi. So again, practice keeping your eyes still. So Gracelyn, you could look at the tip of your nose. Again, you can find a spot on the back of your mat. This technique also helps you to get out of your head, right? Because reality is happening out here. It's not happening up here, right? Reality's out here. So take your eyes, you focus them outward. You see what you see. Nice. Okay, drop your arms. Very slowly roll up to stand. Tuck your chin, come up, 1 vertebrae at a time. That's it, nice and slow. Great, good. Roll your shoulders back and you're gonna stand in what we call mountain pose. Ta-da, Tadasana, it's called. So move forward a little bit more at the top of your mat. Good. Bring your big toes closer together, maybe even touch them if you can. The heels are separated about 6 inches apart. Good. Shoulders are back. Belly is pulled in, right? When you engage the belly, it's easier to lengthen your spine. It also helps you to protect your back. It's very important. Your legs are very active too in Tadasana. So you're pressing the big toe joint, the pinky toe joint, your heel straight down into your mat. You're hugging the outsides of your shins in, so your legs are really strong. Your femur bones are pulling up and into your hip sockets. Okay, now inhale, take your arms up high. That's it. Drop your shoulders down your back. So extend through your knuckles. That's it. Keep your belly firm. Good. And continue to breathe deeply. Very important, people. When you do the asana practice, if you stop breathing or you're having trouble breathing, that's your cue. Back off. Back off. Keeping your breath deep and steady is the most important part of the asana practice. Okay. Now bring your arms slightly forward. Press your palms together and gaze up at your thumbs, Gracelyn. Good. Inhale. Exhale. Bend your knees. Bow deeply into your legs. That's it. Fingers in line with your toes. Head way in. We're doing a sun salutation now. Inhale. Lift halfway up, flattening your back. Good. And again, notice Gracelyn put her hands on her shins. That's great. For many of us, if we keep our fingers on the floor, it'll be difficult for us to lengthen the spine. And notice how nice and long Gracelyn's spine is. She's pushing her hips back. She's extending out through her sternum. Notice the spine does run into, her neck, and that's also nice and long. To help move your hips back, again, if you're really tight, you soften your knees. You bend your knees to help you push your hips back. That's it. Gracelyn, take one more deep breath in here. Exhale, bow into your legs. Good, head way in, that's it. Inhale, rise up to stand. Good. Exhale, bring your hands into the center of your chest. Excellent. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Good. Inhale, reach your arms straight back up. Good. Exhale, bow. And bend your knees so it's easy for you to push your tailbone way back. Head comes all the way in. Good. Inhale, halfway lift. Excellent. Exhale, fold back into your legs. Great. Inhale, step your right foot way back. Way, way back. That's it. Now keep your left toes facing forward. So you're doing a low lunge. So your fingers are on either side of your left foot. Good. That's it. Reach out through the ball of your right heel and sink your hips and groin down more so she's getting a stretch in her right thigh. Yeah, now drop your right knee down. Good. And feel the stretch through the top of your right thigh. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, step back into downward facing dog. Good. Drop your head. Lift your hips high. Remember to root down through your thumbs, pointer fingers, and middle fingers. Excellent. Okay. Now inhale, come into a high plank position. Firm up your belly. Keep your thighs really firm. Roll the inside of your thighs up towards the ceiling. That's it. Good. Thoracic spine is dropped in. Now, when you're new to plank, if you need to take a break in plank, just drop your knees down, Gracelyn. Good. You can always drop your knees to the floor in this position. Okay, straighten your legs again. Awesome. That's it. Now, Gracelyn, on an exhale, lower straight down to the floor, pulling your elbows straight back, shoulders away from your ears. Drop all the way down. Yeah, you can go fast to make it easy. That's it. Good. Now, point your feet and come into a cobra. Press your pelvis down into the mat. Feel all 10 of your toes pressing into the floor. Remember, asana practice is about connecting with the earth. So the most important part of the posture always is the part of your body that's connecting with the earth. In this case right here, it's Gracelyn's feet, her pelvis. Now her kneecaps lifted, right? Thighs, legs, very active, yes. Fingers and knuckles pressed down, shoulders back. So it's like, you're opening up your chest. You're like a snake coming out of its skin. Good. And now lower your forehead down, curl your toes under, and press back into downward facing dog. People at home, if downward dog is too difficult for whatever reason, I want to show the studio audience a modification. Please drop your knees, Gracelyn, and just press your hips back towards your heels. So press your hips back. Great. This can be your downward dog here. You can keep your knees on the ground, your toes curled under. For your yoga practice to be successful, you want to stay focused on your breath. The postures and what you can or cannot do with your body is not important to the success of your practice. This is really, really important because really anybody can have a yoga practice. Okay. Gracelyn, please come up onto your hands and knees and step your right foot forward now next to your thumb so you're in a low lunge on the other side. Great. Sink your hips down, pull your belly in, look up, feel the stretch through your left thigh, right? This is important too. You always want to keep the shoulders away from your ears, right? We never want to see this. The shoulders are always down, heart and chest open. Okay, on an inhale, Gracelyn, please step your left foot to meet your right foot. Lengthen your back. Exhale, fold into your legs. Good. Inhale, rise up. Sweep up. Great. Exhale, hands into the center of your chest. Okay, so we just showed you a little tiny bit of, what will be done in class, a little bit. And we're running out of time, so I do want to end with a short meditation. So Gracelyn, could you please come into a comfortable seated position? When you practice meditation, you do not have to sit on the floor. You do not have to sit in full lotus, right, with your feet up to your hips. You can practice in a chair. If you happen to be in a studio and you're sitting on the floor and your hips are really tight, your knees are high, you can, Gracelyn's adjusting herself right now. She's putting the mat underneath her ankles, but you can lift your hips up with a pillow. We don't have a pillow here now, but it's nice to elevate the hips a little bit. In fact, and I would say Gracelyn's knees, right, are higher than her hips, so I would definitely recommend for Gracelyn to sit on a pillow. But we don't have one right now. Actually, you know what we're going to do is we're just going to roll this mat up and have you sit on it. Okay. And just sit on the edge of that, and that's just going to make it a little more, it's going to make it easier, a little more comfortable. Okay? So we only have a few minutes. Close your eyes, and I'm just going to speak a little bit to meditation practice. When I say meditation practice, I'm talking about being still. This is important. Some people say, well, I meditate when I run or I bike. When we're speaking of meditation practice, stillness. Okay? So you're going to practice being still, Gracelyn. Not a rigid stillness, right? There's softness in the belly's moving, but you make a commitment to just stop all the fidgeting and the movement. Okay? Another aspect to meditation is you focus on one thing. So you're not just sitting here fantasizing or you could be sitting still with your eye closed and worrying about your dissertation that you need to get done. What you're doing is you're focusing on one thing. Some people use a prayer. For our purposes today, I'm going to tell Gracelyn to focus on her breath. That's a good place to start. So Gracelyn, just keep bringing your mind back to your breath. And you don't have to breathe in a particular way. You don't have to use the Ujjayi breathing technique. You can just allow your breath to be very natural. It might even be very shallow. Belly is soft. Every time your mind wanders, bring it back to the breath. Keep bringing your mind back to your breath. And be still. And practice observing uncomfortable sensations in the body when they rise. It might be an itch, a tickle, tension. Instead of moving and trying to get rid of it right away, remember you committed to stillness, practice observing it, looking at it, letting go of judgment towards it. Surrendering to it. If you do have to move during meditation practice, so what? It's okay. If you move, you just move very slowly and consciously, and then you recommit to being still again and to keep your focus on, for our purposes today, the breath. And the mind will do its thing. You might be having a stressful thoughts or creative thoughts. Keep bringing your focus back to your breath. You just let the thoughts come into your head and go out of your head. And be still. And while Gracelyn's continuing with her meditation practice, I'm going to conclude by saying meditation is a very important aspect to a yoga practice. Some people only do meditation, and there's many, many benefits to meditating. If you're going to start a meditation practice at home, I recommend that you set a timer. Start with 5 minutes, start with 10 minutes, turn off your phone, tell your family not to bother you, and practice. Practice doing it. You will be happy that you started. Okay, great. And I do recommend, if you are serious about a meditation practice and a yoga practice, that you do find a qualified teacher. I would love to see you at the Mystic Yoga Shala. Gracelyn, thank you so much for having me on your show. And I hope that all of you start yoga. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. It was so much fun to have you here, and thank you for that guided meditation and that little bit of yoga in the middle of my day. It was wonderful. I love Yogashala because they have classes 7 days a week at 5 or 6 different times every day. And so if you have a busy schedule, you don't have to make an appointment for any particular class. You can drop in whenever it suits your schedule and whatever day that happens to be. And of all the teachers that I've had there, they've all had excellent training. They're wonderful yoga teachers, and I've enjoyed all of them because Amy doesn't teach 7 days a week. And so all of this occurs at Yogashala, which is on Route 1 across from Big Y in Mystic. Thank you very much for joining us, and be sure to tune in next Wednesday night at 7 o'clock on the same channel for another episode.